Beneath the golden glow of the mountain of white bones, a maiden appears, young, innocent, and breathtakingly beautiful. She carries a basket of food, her eyes soft, her voice gentle, a picture of pure kindness and helpless virtue. But this is no ordinary girl. This is a white-bone demon, a monster hiding behind the most perfect disguise the mortal world has ever seen. Everyone around her falls for her charm. Everyone except one. Wukong sees through the illusion. Hi guys, welcome to the Eastern Universe. You might have already learned a lot about Wukong, the most powerful battle god in Eastern mythologies. But I bet you don't know how truly formidable he is. In the above scene, I give you a brief idea about his legendary battle against a white-bone demon, a not-so-fierce Yaoguai. Wukong sees through her disguise with his superpower 火眼金睛, fiery golden eyes, and strikes her with no mercy. But what makes Wukong so special and powerful among all the world's heroes is that he doesn't need to wax his ears like Odysseus to fend off the sirens' tempting voices, nor does he fall for a queen's beauty and betray his king like Lancelot. Wukong is simply invincible, not only in man's battleground, but in all aspects. To further showcase how unstoppable he is, I'll introduce some of the major gods he has fought with in epic battles in Eastern mythologies. Buckle up and follow me. The giant spirit god, also called the river god of the Yellow River. His legend first appeared in Western Han. In 通假开山图, it says there was a giant spirit who mastered the primal earth force and could create mountains and rivers. The giant spirit, mighty and strong, pushed with his palm and stamped with his foot, bending the river's course. His traces still remain. He stands an insanely colossal and towering height, with a massive, muscular frame that dwarfs all ordinary gods, big enough to split mountains with his bare hands.
3, 2, 1.
The giant spirit god roars, thunder cracks, clouds shatter. He slams his divine mace down, a strike that could erase an entire army. But Wukong is faster than lightning, faster than fate. He dodges, he taunts, he leaps. His golden hook rod responds. Every brutal swing outmatched. In one earth-shattering, god-defying moment, Wukong strikes. The Colossus falls. Power is not written in height. Nezha is one of the most beloved mythological figures in Chinese culture. With layered origins blending Indian Buddhist roots and Chinese Taoist evolution. His earliest form is Neluo Jiupo, Nalakuvara, a powerful yaksha guardian deity in Indian Buddhism. As the son of Yasravana, the heavenly king of the north, one of the 4 heavenly kings, Nezha is revered as a mighty battle god. Over centuries, Nezha merged with Chinese folk religion and Taoism. His father became Li Jing, the pagoda-wielding heavenly king, a fusion of Yasravana and the Tang general Li Jing. He was reimagined as Lianhua San Taizi, the third lotus prince, and Zhongtan Yuanshuai, the central marshal in the Taoist pantheon. Nezha's mighty power largely relies on his magical weapons: 风火轮, wind fire wheels, 火尖枪, fire-tipped spear, 乾坤圈, universal ring, 混天绫, red armillary sash. And perhaps his most famous feat is defeating and killing the third prince of the East Sea Dragon King, Aobing, at the jaw-dropping age of 7. What's also worth mentioning here is that, just like Wukong, Nezha is regarded as a symbol of rebellion against fate, and one hero versus the entire corrupt system. Now behold, the legendary battle between 2 of the greatest rebels is about to begin.
1.
The air shook as Sun Wukong and Nezha clashed into a storm of divine weapons. Nezha unleashed his whole power, summoning his 3 heads and 8 arms. In each hand, he wielded a fearsome artifact: the universal ring, the red armillary sash, the fire-tipped spear, and the windfire wheels. Sun Wukong stood calm, holding his golden hook rod that could shrink or grow at will. He dodged the wheel, blocking away the fire-tipped spear, and swept the red armillary sash away with one swing. Whenever Nezha attacked, the golden hoop rod turned into an impenetrable wall of gold. The battle raged, but Sun Wukong's speed and strength were unmatched. Nezha's divine artifacts were thrown off balance, and he could not withstand the Monkey King's power. Yang Jian, aka Erlang Shen, is the only warrior god strong enough to match Wukong. Yang Jian is the nephew of the Jade Emperor. He has a third-tooth seeing eye, a magical spear, and Xiaotianquan, a divine hunting dog. His greatest feats include fighting Wukong to a standstill and splitting Mount Tao to rescue his mother as a hero of courage and filial piety. And in the following combat scene, you're about to see both Yang and Wukong use their ultimate divine supreme powers, 72变, 72 transformations, and 法天象地, the ability to grow into a colossal giant as tall as heaven and earth. Their battle erupted into a thrilling contest of 72 transformations. Wukong turned into a soaring sparrow. Yang Jian instantly transformed into a hungry soaring hawk to chase him. The Monkey King became a fish and darted into the stream. Yang Jian turned into a cormorant, ready to strike. Wukong changed into a temple to hide. Yang Jian saw through the trick at once and prepared to attack. Neither could gain the upper hand. In a final earth-shaking clash, both unleashed 法天象地, the great heaven and earth god form. The divine aura shook heaven and earth. They fought with godly power, and in the end, battled to a complete stalemate. Lord Laozi is the highest immortal in Taoism, one of the three pure ones, and the ancestor of all immortals. He also plays a role as weaponsmith of the gods, like Hephaestus in Greek mythology. As a master of alchemy, he forged many powerful artifacts, including Wukong's golden hooped rod, 八卦炉 8-Trigram furnace, his core magical furnace for making kills and forging divine weapons. It contains 16 divine fire capable of refining anything. Strictly speaking, there's no one-on-one fight between Wukong and Lord Laozi. Here's what really happened. Wukong was already surrounded and fighting hard against Yang Jian, the seven Mei brothers, and the Xiaotian dog. Lord Laozi was watching from the seventh heaven gate. He suddenly threw his diamond scepter down from above, hitting Wukong on the head. Sun Wukong was completely unprepared and fell to the ground. Only then was he captured. Lord Laozi asked the Jade Emperor to hand the Monkey King over to him. He brought Wukong back to his 八卦炉. He planned to burn Wukong into ashes over 49 days. Wukong suffered inside the raging fire, but he hid in the wind compartment of the furnace, so he did not burn to death. To everyone's surprise, the smoke and fire seared his eyes, giving him the powerful, fiery golden eyes. When the 49 days were over, Lord Laozi opened the furnace. Suddenly, Sun Wukong jumped out, alive and furious. He kicked over the Eight-Trigram furnace, broke free, and started causing chaos in heaven again. This time, no god could stop him anymore. Wukong is strong, but he didn't defeat all Yaoguais. Why? Because he was imprisoned for 500 years after rebelling against all gods. So in his 500-year imprisonment, Yaoguais had studied him thoroughly. His every move, his tactics, his personality, his magical weapon. To all the Yaoguais, Wukong was an open book, but each Yaoguai had its own unique magic and treasures. Like mystery boxes Wukong could never predict. What's more, most top Yaoguais were servants of gods or bodhisattvas. They had powerful backbones. He was one of Wukong's sworn brothers, the eldest of 7 Yaoguai brothers. The Bao Demon King's power, fighting skills, and shape-shifting abilities are almost equal to Sun Wukong's. And he's not just a fighter, but the ultimate power broker of the Western continent, a demon warlord. His wife, Princess Iron Fan, rules the 800-leaf flaming mountain with a single treasure, 芭蕉扇, planting fan, which puts out the blazing fire of the mountain and brings rain to 1,000 miles of land. His son, Red Boy, controls 600-li Hao Mountain, commanding every spirit, god, beast, and Yaoguai in the land. The battle between Wukong and the Bao Demon King is a long, drawn-out fight. Here it goes.
3,
When
2,
Wukong
1.
was heading west, the Bao Demon King drew his iron staff and stood defiant. The two clashed once. Wukong wielded his golden hooked rod like a flying dragon. The Bao Demon swung his staff with godlike force. Their weapons shook the heavens, and they fought over 100 rounds. Neither could gain the upper hand. The battle turned into a grueling war of attrition. The Bao Demon matched Wukong's strength, stamina, and martial arts, move for move. Even with Zhu Bajie joining the fight, they fought to a standstill. View him. Heavenly hosts descended Li Jing, Nezha, the 4 great adventurers, celestial generals, and divine warriors surrounded the Bao demon from all sides. Nezha bound his horns with fire wheels. The demon reflecting mirror locked his true form, so he could not shift it or escape. Broken and exhausted, the Bao demon knelt and surrendered. Only then did he hand over the planting fan to end the battle. Red Boy is the son of the Bao Demon King and Princess Iron Fan. Born into supreme power and endless wealth, he was bored rotten from birth, never disciplined, never denied, never taught mercy. This reckless upbringing turned him into a cruel, violent, and tyrannical ruler, much like Joffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones, arrogant, bullying, and delighting in terrorizing all living things around him. What makes him even more terrifying is his appearance, that of a small child. Though he's over 300 years old, his body remains that of a youth. His most terrifying power is Sanmei Zhenhuo, the Samadhi True Fire, an unextinguishable magic flame. Now let's witness the epic battle. At Fire Cloud Cave, Red Boy charged out with his fire-pointed spear, defiant and fierce. Wukong raised his golden hook rod and the two cashed into a furious duel. They fought 20 rounds evenly. Red Boy's spear skills sharp and relentless, Wukong's rod unstoppable. Seeing he could not win by force alone, Red Boy stepped onto his 5 elemental cards, chanted a spell, and unleashed his deadliest power, Samadhi True Fire. Wukong used his fire warding spell and charged into the flames, but the fire was too fierce. He was badly burned, and in agony, he plunged into a nearby stream to cool off. In the end, only Guanyin Bodhisattva could subdue Red Boy's cruel magic and tyranny. The green-haired lion demon is no rock monster. He is a divine mount of Manjushri Bodhisattva, sent to the mortal world by Buddha's divine order to exact a karmic punishment. Years ago, Manjushri Bodhisattva was on a mission to enlighten the king of Wuji and guide him to Buddhism. To test the king's virtue, Manjushri took the form of a humble monk who begged for food. But the king, offended by the monk's plain words and looking, bound him and threw him into a river, where he was submerged for 3 days and 3 nights. Therefore, a strict karmic retribution was decided. 3 days of suffering for the Bodhisattva would be repaid with 3 years of suffering for the king. The green-haired lion was then sent down to earth to execute this judgment. Assuming the form of a Taoist priest, the lion demon arrived in Wuji Kingdom and gained the trust of the king. One night in the royal garden, he tricked the king into approaching a well and sealed him with a heavy stone. The true king died and his spirit was trapped underwater for 3 years, while the demon took the king's form and his place on the throne. Shortly after arriving in Wuji Kingdom, Wukong investigated, retrieved the king's body from the well, and saw through the green-haired lion demon's trick. Thus, a battle ensued.
3, 2, 1.
The fourth king bared his true form at last, the green-haired lion demon. He charged at Wukong with a sword in his hand, fierce and ruthless. Wukong lifted his golden hook rod and met him head-on. Sparks flew, shaking the palace wall, sword against rod, rounds upon rounds before the lion demon began to falter. There was no match for Wukong's lightning-fast strikes and godlike strength. Sensing defeat, the demon panicked. In an instant, he transformed into an identical copy of Wukong's Shifu Tang Sanzang, standing side by side with the real master, confusing Wukong completely. But Wukong saw through the trick at once. The false Tang Sanzang could not recite the tight fillet spell, nor did he have the golden fillet around his head. His disguise was broken in a heartbeat. Wukong threw the green-haired lion demon and threw the drum. Before Wukong could land the finishing blow, Manjushri Bodhisattva descended from the heavens and pulled him back. Mulang is not an ordinary Yaoguai. He is a legitimate heavenly star god, the wolf star of the West, one of the 28 constellation gods. Long before he became a Yaoguai, he and the palace maid of the moon fell deeply in love in heaven. But love between immortals was strictly forbidden. To escape punishment, the maid fled to the mortal world and reincarnated as Princess Baihuaxiu of Baoxiang. She forgot all her past memories, but Mulang never forgot. Filled with longing, he left heaven, descended to earth just like the fallen angels, and became the yellow robe demon, occupying the way back cave. For 13 years, he waited and watched, and finally kidnapped the princess to his cave. He did not harm her, only treated her as gently as he could. But the princess only wanted to go home. She secretly sent a letter to her father begging for rescue, and Wukong happened to visit her kingdom and learned about the letter. It's a tragic love story, but a fierce combat was destined to happen. Holding the power of a mighty heaven god, ferocious and ruthless, Mulang charged at Wukong with his steel sword, moving like a storm. Wukong blocked every strike with his golden hoop rod. The two clashed furiously, blade against rod, lightning speed shaking the mountains, dozens of rounds, but Mulang could not gain the upper hand. As the battle turned against him, the demon unleashed his heavenly magic. His body radiated a terrifying light, and his fight spirit exploded like a raging beast. Wukong's godlike power struck like a thunderbolt, breaking the demon's defense. Mulang's sword staggered back, nearly torn from his grasp. Before Wukong could finish him, Mulang stared at Princess Baihuaxiu one last time, his eyes filled with sorrow, not anger. Surrendering without resistance, he allowed Wukong to subdue him. This was no fight between good and evil. It was the end of a love that had lasted thousands of years. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you like my content, please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm always here to share more strange and fascinating Eastern stories. See you next time.